Hi, this is Kevin. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kevin.
All right, I'm with the CMC.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Ready? We're going to get started here soon.
Do you want to test the recorder?
Yeah, let me see. So how?
You got it right there. That green.
Kevin, can you see you're able to record?
Yeah, we're working on that right now.
Okay.
Just click off that real quick.
How about this?
Oh, yeah, you got it. Yep.
This meeting is being recorded.
They added a voice function.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we got it.
And then
Neal, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Donna. Yes.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Councilman Smith, can you hear?
Mayor Roop, this is Aaron.
How are you, Aaron?
Good. How are you doing?
Okay.
So I just noticed that someone's got their phone number displayed.
Yes.
I think you can have the ability to change that. If you know who it is, it's again, we want first name, last name, and title. Or we can just put down, participant joining by phone. Anything but their personal number, I suppose.
All right.
I think you can do that through the participants view and rename them.
Right.
We can't do that, but the host / moderator can do that.
somebody
And this is only switching over because our microphone is being taken. So the display mode. Hey, Mayor Roop, I wanted to do an audio check here real quick with everybody, if possible. Is anyone going to use video, or are you the only person using video?
Hopefully everybody does video. That's on the council and staff.
So if you guys can actually get in the video mode now and activate your cameras, we just want to be able to check the audio, video, make sure things are in sync. So if you get a chance to do that, and then we'll go
try.
go down the line and just count to 10 each person, just so we make sure we're all good, and we can go from there.
All right.
And just to make sure, we've got 6:51 as our time. Is that what you've got?
I think so. Yep, 6:51.
Okay. So we got 9 minutes till we go live.
Okay. You need me to count down?
Not yet, no. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, that was good. Donna, can you give us a count?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Thank you. That looks good. Gary, do you mind giving us a count? Gary, can you hear us? Unmute yourself if you can. There you go.
There you go. Oh,
Is that better?
Yes,
there
sir.
you go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's our budget.
Gary, real quick though, do you mind turning the light off behind you? We're just getting washed out.
Yeah, let me try.
Okay. And then just to remind everybody to mind your headspace in the frame. So like if you look at Ed's frame, that's a really good frame right there. Try to adjust your camera and where you're at with that, because we will have lower thirds. You guys won't be able to see the lower thirds, but everyone at home will.
It's gonna be too dark.
Let's go ahead and go to Ed. Ed, go ahead and give us a 10 count, please.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Excellent, thank you. And then, is Ed Smith? No, there we go. There's Kim. Select them next over.
Kim, do a countdown from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1, whatever.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Thanks, Kim. And Kim, can you mind adjusting your frame? Just bringing the camera down, tilt it so we get less headroom.
Unfortunately, I do not have a laptop that has a camera on it, so the only thing I have is my cell phone. And the only way to be able to participate in the meeting is to prop it up on something. Otherwise, I'm going to have to hold it the whole time. So that's about the best I can do.
Understood. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's falling off.
Go ahead and let's bring down the master.
I call the Town of New Windsor work session agenda for the work session for April 20th, 2020 to order. Do a roll call. Councilman Hoffman,
Present.
Councilman Smith,
Present.
Councilwoman Schultz,
Present.
Councilman Green,
Present.
Councilman Paulsgrove.
Present.
All council members are present. Donna has emailed out the March 16th work session meeting minutes for everyone. There were a couple of corrections. They have been made and updated. Do I hear a motion for approval?
With those
So moved.
corrections, I'll move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Alrighty, I think that was Councilman Paulsgrove and Councilman Smith.
Close enough.
All right. We have a motion by Councilman Paulsgrove, seconded by Councilman Smith, to approve the March 16th work session meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? So carried, 5-0. Town sign update. Gary, let's see here.
Okay, everybody can hear me?
I'm going to put the sheet up for everybody.
Okay. I think you're going to put up the comparison sheet, Neal?
Yes.
Okay. So this was last discussed at the April 1st council meeting. The update is as follows. One question was asked previously about adding to the insurance claim. We checked into that and we cannot add to the insurance claim through Legit to cover additional costs. Neal mentioned presenting to the Lions Club since they were involved with installing the original sign. So maybe there might be a possibility of a donation from the Lions Club. Mike received 3 quotes, 2 from Woodland Signs and 1 from Image 360. Woodland Signs suggested wrapping the wood portions of the new sign in PVC covering to extend the life of the sign. This would add $1,000 to each option A and B from Woodland Signs. Mike checked with on a cost for the PVC wrapping from Image 360, but they could not provide one. So in the updated town sign quote comparison, you'll see basically the changes to including the $1,000 for the PVC wrapping on both options, A and B for Woodland Signs. And that also includes using the remaining $1,100 from the insurance claim through Legit to apply to the cost of the new sign. Is there any questions or?
In case no one is familiar with this sign that's listening, watching the meeting, this sign is the welcome sign that has most of the organization's sign on it as you come westbound down 31 past Old New Windsor Pike on the right. That was blown down by a storm several weeks ago. Now, to my knowledge, the New Windsor Lions Club put that up, and I believe Lion Dave Ault, who's since passed away, was instrumental in getting that sign put up. That's why I contacted the Lions Club, and we had a Zoom meeting last week, but I didn't bring it up, and I'll bring it up again. And we're going to go forward with it anyway. But they may have some attachment to the sign since they were the ones that, to my knowledge, I've been in the club 20 couple years, and it was done before I came into the club. So we'll, I'd just like to touch base with the Lions Club, see if they want to participate in any way, shape, or form. If they do, that's great. If not, we still need a welcome sign as you come into town.
Gary, can you clarify for us? I guess the difference between options A and B are just the physical size of them. They're all the same materials, but then I guess the third one, the Image 360, that's made out of a different material, correct?
Yes, that I was just looking at that too. The Image 360 sign is a different material apparently. At least part of it is. But yeah, the only difference between option A and B from the woodland signs is the size of the sign, and option B looks to be pretty much similar to the original sign.
And Gary, to clarify, the PVC covering is to protect the life of the sign.
Correct. That would be covering any of the pressure-treated wood portions of the sign.
But wouldn't a aluminum composite material probably suffice in that place?
Yeah, but that's only on the sign portions. They're still using pressure-treated lumber paint
Okay,
for the post and the rest of the framing, I would imagine.
gotcha. Okay.
But I'm inclined to probably, I think the PVC covering is a good alternative to extend the life of that and reduce the maintenance on it. So I would be inclined to go with or recommend option 2, since it's pretty much the same size, similar to the original sign.
Option B.
Yes, of the woodland signs.
Gary,
Comments?
another question. Do you have a sense? We see one is 10 by 9, that's 90 square feet, and the other is 11 by 7, so that's 77 square
77.
feet. Do you have a sense as to which configuration the existing signs that we have will fit on there best?
If I would say that option B, because of the way in parentheses there, you see it says similar to the original sign. So I would assume we would either be reusing the signs that were on there or getting new versions of the signs that are on there, updated new ones, but keep the same size configuration.
And we're getting $1,100 in insurance, correct?
Yeah, that's included already in the well, on 22. Let me just check my numbers here. So including using the $1,100 from the insurance claim, you would knock $1,100 off of the $33.25 with PVC covering the $22.78 or the $19.54.74. So the town cost would be $22.25 for option A, $16.85 for option B, and $854.74 for the Image 360 option. So the prices you see on that comparison are full cost, and then we would use the remaining $1,100 to take off of that.
Right. Other thoughts? Motion?
So Gary, where? Dave here.
Yeah.
Gary, where would we pool the additional required funds from?
There's probably a couple different options. We could use contingency money. We could use just emergency money. There's a couple different places we could get.
Donna, do you know if we still have money in parks?
We do.
Okay.
We do have some money left in the sign replacement budget as well.
Okay.
And if we use that money, if the Lions Club would decide to contribute, we could always replace it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, this is Ed Smith. So my understanding is the woodland signs, they have the PVC covering for the posts is what I'm assuming that means. But the Image 360 does not. They just white paint the pressure treated lumber white. There is no covering for the Image 360.
That is correct. That's our understanding from what Mike was gathered and trying to reach them and get a cost for the PVC on it.
So we would have,
Offered or- Go ahead.
I mean, that's going to last a long time, but we're going to obviously have to maintain repainting it every couple of years or so. Whereas the other stuff with the PVC, I guess we wouldn't have to worry about that.
Correct.
Do I hear a motion?
Well, let me ask one more question. I'm just looking at the difference in the sizes and we're looking at, I'm assuming the option B because it's very similar to what we have now. My question is, do we have other organizations or do we need more real estate? Do we need the bigger sign to put any other organizations on it?
It would always be to our advantage to have more room. You're looking at $600, give or take, $665 or $400 and some dollars.
$540, I believe.
$540.
The difference between option A and option B.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case, is it specifically just for civic organizations, or is it, or can it, or is it something that we would open up to other entities,
Like
businesses? I mean, I've seen those signs. I mean, they pretty much have them everywhere, but to me, they always represented the civic organizations like
right.
Lions and whatnot. And are there any other civic organizations out there that are not represented on it?
Without looking at the sign, I couldn't tell you, but I'm guessing there probably is.
Do we have the rec council on there in any way?
I think, but I can't off the top of my head.
Yes, the rec council, I had a sign for the rec council put on that sign several years back that went all the way across the bottom of the sign, if you recall. It said West Carroll Rec Council and had their URL for their website.
What are your feelings?
Well, I'd like to make a motion, but I'm not sure whether we need option A or B. And I guess maybe I do not recall what's on the sign and how it lays out, and whether if option A gives us a little bit more real estate on there so that we could add one or two more if it was needed. But if we think we've got everything covered, then we could probably just go with option B.
Well, the
was there any room on the old?
Not much. Option A would give you two advantages, of course, besides the square footage: better placement and also additional signs. And I'm not too sure the sign that we have now, some of them aren't kind of off of the sign itself, off to the right or off to the left a little bit. I can't remember. Seems like they were at one time. Maybe they aren't anymore, but this would give us better placement of the signs and also additional signs if we need it down the road.
And you say there's not much room on the way we have it configured now. There's not much.
I don't think so. I think it was full. Pretty full.
Yeah.
If you want, I can try to get a picture of the sign. I know it's too heavy for just the two guys to move. You have to move it with the tractor or something to lift it. It's pretty heavy. But Wayne might already have a picture, or Mike might already have a picture. I can see if we can get that, and at least that way have an idea what. I don't recall exactly. I passed it 100 times too, but I don't recall the exact configuration or what agencies were on there, or how much room's left. But
Gary, I can get an overhead drone view of it.
What's that?
I can get an overhead drone picture of it.
If it's up, but I'm not sure if the signs are up or down.
Councilmember Cosgrove, the sign is laying face down.
Okay.
All right, how about if we table that? We're just going kind of around in circles here. How about if we table it? Our next town council meeting is only 2 weeks away, really. And in that time, we can get pictures of it and see whether or not all of our organizations are represented, and also whether or not all of those that are represented still want to be represented or with a new sign.
Okay.
Everybody all right with that?
Sounds good.
All right, speeding and accident in town. Gary?
Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm just writing a note. Okay. I don't know, some of you are probably aware, but on Tuesday, April 14th at 3:30, Brian Musselman, he's with MES. They operate the water treatment plant and the wastewater treatment plant for the town, was in an accident at the intersection of Church Street and High Street. The driver was on their cell phone. They were coming down Church Street, ran the stop sign at Union Bridge, and then proceeded to run the stop sign at High Street, and basically collided with Brian's work truck as he was leaving town, the MES pickup truck that he drives. It was estimated that the driver was going approximately 40 miles an hour. There were no skid marks, just blew right through both stop signs and collided with Brian's truck. Fortunately, neither Brian nor the driver of the other vehicle were injured or needed medical attention, which was very fortunate. But both vehicles were most likely totaled from what I saw or what I heard. Traffic problems, speed cut through, running stop signs. It's been a consistent problem in town. It's really just, it's an ongoing issue. People really, really need to slow down, especially in towns, not only New Windsor, but the other municipalities. That very easily could have been a fatality in either case. If that's a truck coming from any kind of large truck, that person's going to be dead. How else to say it? Hopefully the driver who caused the senseless accident will be charged with the proper citations, because it was just, it's just blatant disregard for the law. Talking on a cell phone, blowing through stop signs. It's very frustrating to me, and I don't even live in the town. But, a traffic light at the intersection of Church and High would help slow the traffic down, at least on High Street, but a light comes with other issues. We all have learned in the past that would be, and that SHA would be required to, approve and install the light. They do their test as they would everywhere else. Whether it would be warranted, I don't know. Probably venture to guess that it wouldn't be, but again, that would be a call from SHA. But I just thought it was worth noting and bringing up if any of the council hadn't heard about it. So
I tried to contact Master Deputy Calusi, but I don't know whether he might be either on call or away right now, but he hadn't gotten back to me, but I'll follow up with him.
Okay.
So real quick, this is Councilman Green here. Kind of want to bring up a couple things along those lines. So ever since the COVID-19 pandemic has happened, I'm seeing a lot more, not only just speeding violations, but since we put up these no right turns, left turns here on Hillside or High Street, on Lambert Avenue here, people are just going right through the signs now because they know there's no enforcement. Speeding on 31, it certain times of the day, it becomes the Autobahn as people are leaving town or coming into town. It's been increased, I would say, over the last few months. And I see people in the stop sign that we put up here by Maple that just blow through that. I mean, I think it's all over town. It's just not here. But ever since, I feel like ever since the COVID-19 situation, I feel like people think there's not going to be any law enforcement. So speeding is up, blowing through stop signs is up, and not paying any attention to these left turn, right turn signs. We're still seeing a heavy flow of traffic. In fact, I'm starting to see issues, and I appreciate local businesses doing well. But just this weekend, we had people parked all the way on the side of my house on the yellow area, coming up Lambert Avenue, almost into the intersection, waiting to get food, which I'm glad they're doing well. But if somebody was to make a right-hand turn coming onto Lambert Avenue, they would have smashed into two cars. I mean, it's just blatant disregard for all our moving violations in this town. And I think people have realized that there is no law enforcement during this pandemic period, and they're just going to do what they want. That's my take.
Pretty well said. Unfortunately.
But, honestly, that's pretty much everywhere, though. That's not just specific to this town. My job obviously takes me out on the road. I cannot believe some of the stuff I'm seeing. People either feel like they can go 100 miles an hour, or they think that since they got no place to be, they can go 25 miles an hour. And I mean, it's horrible. So it's not just exclusive to this town. It's all the way over.
Well, this is Kim. This is Councilwoman Schultz. I was home, obviously, that day, and it was a pretty horrific sound. And I don't think I'll ever get over watching a truck slide on its side past my kitchen window. That was, I don't know how somebody didn't get really seriously hurt in that accident. But, this isn't the time for the discussion, but the problem is Church Street. It's not usually somebody on the speeding, of course, is a whole other issue, but the blowing of the stop signs are Church Street. So, I think this comes back to, what can we do to make it so it's harder to do that on Church Street? So, we can have that conversation another time, but, we come back to the calming mounds, whatever. But, obviously I would have a lot of personal concerns with the stoplight there because I live there. But besides that, I see accidents there all the time. It's a factor of life living it where I live. And most of the time, the person causing the accident is coming up or down Church Street.
And not abiding by the law.
Exactly.
All right. Fiscal year 21 budget discussion and possible introduction. Gary, I'm going to put which one you want to start with.
I guess go with the version
3A.
3A. Yes, please. So Neal's going to bring that up. So I'll go ahead and get started. In keeping with the slightly adjusted FY20 budget schedule, we're going to be discussing and possibly introducing two more conservative options, which we decided to look into with the current situation with the COVID-19 crisis. That the COVID-19 crisis is impacting jobs, spending, revenues, and many other things. And budget planning is much more difficult than ever before. The uncertainty of the duration, the long-term financial impacts, and many other variables of the coronavirus combined to make FY21 budget and budget preparation and planning very, very difficult, very tough. However, we're not in this alone. New Windsor is in the same position as every other government agency and public or private business, and we must approve and adopt a budget before the end of the current fiscal year. We can only do our best, and keep in mind that the budget is a guide and can be adjusted or amended as necessary during the fiscal year. So I have two options that you all have copies of, and we'll be discussing a little bit here tonight. Both options 3A and 3A1 have the same changes to revenues and expenditures. Both versions include hiring a new full-time public works maintenance worker and promoting Alan Tobery to supervisor. Option 3A1 has raises for the rest of the staff, and option 3A does not. So the version 3A you have here, it only includes the new public works position and promotion of Allen. Everybody else's salary is frozen in that option. So the following general fund revenues were reduced in both options. You'll see on the income tax, county building permits, state highway user revenues, and admin fees and impact fees. They were all revised, reduced in both options. The following enterprise fund revenues were reduced also in both options. The sewer usage receipts, sewer hookup fees, water usage receipts, water hookup fees, and developer meter purchases. So what the big change in both of these versions is in the calculation of these revenues that I just mentioned, 6 new EDUs were used versus 15 used previously. So if you take the combined water and sewer hookup fee for a new house, a new EDU, it's just under $17,000 total each. So you can do the math yourself and see on the spreadsheets, the budgets, the loss in revenue there just on the enterprise side of things. On the expenditure side, the salaries are adjusted accordingly per each option in both general and enterprise fund. There was minor changes to percentages were made for the clerk treasurer and secretary receptionist. On the public safety line item, the New Windsor Fire Company contribution I reduced to $10,000 versus $20,000. And then under miscellaneous, the retirement plan was reduced accordingly per each option in both general and enterprise fund. We started calculating and separating out the retirement plan dollars in the budget. On the general fund, the trash, household, and recycling collection was increased in both options by $1,600, and that was due to the county. We got word from that the county was proposing to raise tipping fees $1 to $65 a ton, and starting to charge for recycling at $30 a ton, beginning January 1st, 2021. That's in their budget. Of course, they're waiting to adopt their budget as well. And then basically when you go to run all your numbers and your revenues and your expenditures, the capital project budget in both the general and enterprise for both options were adjusted either up or down accordingly to balance the budget. So, like I say, the big difference, or really the only difference between the two versions is the difference with the staff and the one, like I said, the one version 3A just has the new public works position and the promotion of Allen to supervisor, and then the freezes on the rest of the salaries. And then 3A1 has the same, but giving raises to the rest of the staff as previously planned. And where that difference comes out again is pretty much the difference where you get to the line item transfer in both the general fund. Let me see if I can get to that, where that is. On the general fund side, it is at the bottom of the public works. Neal, since you're driving, if you can get to the bottom of that.
Public works?
Yeah, get to the bottom of the public works section, keep going down. Get the last item in public works.
Capital budget?
114, yeah. Capital project budget. So the difference when everything washes out, so to speak, is where we take the difference in revenues versus expenditures and apply to that line item in that project. But that line item is for capital projects on the general side. The same thing comes into play at the bottom under enterprise. The difference is you split them up between water and sewer. So if you scroll down to, go down to sewer, keep going, there it is. Capital projects, that's on the water side. And then the same line item appears down in the sewer side, and they're the same amounts. You just split the difference from revenue to expenditures and put them in as for capital projects. So any questions on that 3A version or anything that I've said so far?
Hey, Gary, this is Councilman Green here. I got a question. How much of an expenditure is it to add the new public work position?
Hang on one second. I can get you that information. I'll shuffle some papers here in my makeshift desk in my basement. Let me see here. The new we budgeted the new public works position, full-time public works position at annual salary of $31,200. That's $15 an hour for 2,080 hours a year. 40. Hang on one second. Hey, hon, can you get the dog, please? Excuse me. And then,
History, Gary, history is just made. That's probably the first time we've ever had a council meeting.
well, he's standing right behind me, barking at my neighbor. So
I thought it was going to be me.
Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
And then the difference in Alan's salary to supervisor is about another $3,500 a year. So if you look at the two, it'd be about 35,000 total, but $35,600 total, something like that, $700. Does that answer your question, Terry? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to pull these numbers off of a different chart.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So this is Councilman Hoffman. So I'm really trying not to do away with the raises that we proposed and not to do away with the full donation that we make to the New Windsor Fire Department. So I was combing over the budget and to see if I could find that kind of money somewhere else. And I'm curious, considering the situation across the state, if it would be feasible for us. We have a line item in our budget for our streetscape project for the streetlights at about $34,000. The state will probably be in a fiscal area the same way we are. And I was wondering if it was possible that we could delay that, at least the portion of it that would cover the salary increases and the donation, take that portion of the money from the money proposed to go to the streetlights for the time being, since there's probably a good chance that that will be delayed from the state going forward for at least another year anyway. So I just wanted to throw that out. Our town staff works very hard and would like to see them get the raise we proposed. And considering the plight of our fire company having to cancel their biggest fundraiser for the year and things like that, it would be a hardship for them to lose another substantial amount of money that comes from the town. So just wanted to throw that out for consideration.
Understood. Let me just be clear, Dave. You're referring to the street lights on line item 107 there. Is that correct?
That is correct, Gary.
I believe that doesn't have anything to do with the streetscape project. That has to do, we pay electric bill on the streetlights yearly. Is that correct, Donna?
Yes.
You have to unmute there you go.
Yes, that's correct.
So that line item,
That has nothing to do with the streetscape.
yeah.
All right. Then I'll keep looking then. Thank you.
Okay.
This is Councilman Green, real quick. So I was thinking about this as well, and I'm on the same page as Dave. Right now, with the fire department taking such a significant hit in all their fundraising, I also would like to see the town hall staff get the raises as we have discussed. Of course, myself working for the state's currently, because of the budget situation and $2.8 billion probably in deficit this year, they put a hiring freeze. You can't create no new positions, or you can't hire currently. I think we can still move forward with giving our full donation. I also think we can go ahead and give the raises to current staff. I just don't see this fiscal year, where we're currently at with the pandemic, of adding a new position at the tune of about 34, 35, or 31,000. I still believe we should go ahead and do the raises as proposed for staff. I think we look at adding new positions next fiscal year, and that would allow us to give the full donation to the fire department and move forward with raises, and see what type of environment we have a year from now.
If I may weigh in, of course, Councilman Paulsgrove and I are both members of the fire department, so you know how we feel about the contribution there. And the thing about the new position, if you look at the big picture, we're really not increasing staffing when you consider the former position of Jack Coe, and then also part-time Dave Valentine. So we're down to 2 people now, where we were at 3 people at one time. So I really think, with things the way they are, with Wayne taking a bigger role in water and sewer, that we're going to need somebody on the general side of public works. And just to let you know, the mayors have been getting together, via Zoom, and they are all giving at least a 2% COLA increase for their staff. So I just want to let you know that we would not be the only town giving a 2% or whatever it may be, or just pay increases to our staff. All the other municipalities, to my knowledge, are giving at least a 2 to 2.5% COLA increase.
If I can
I'd like
add
to
something.
in regards to our public works staffing. As you might be aware, Wayne and staff are probably taking on, well, not probably, they are taking on more and more functions that previously had been farmed out, or where we have hired outside contractors to do. So in a sense, we're saving some money there by doing some of this work. But the more of this we take on, that means we need more staff to be able to help us out with that.
And can I add something? I understand the concern with the fire department. My only goal there was to try to make up some lost revenue. That was nothing, personal against the fire company. I was just looking for money. We could simply, if we put kept that line item at 20,000, then without changing anything else, and I'm just throwing this out there, like I said, you knock 10,000 off of the capital project budget transfer, or we don't call it transfer anymore, but so that would be $10,000 less. I feel that the new public works position is imperative that we get that position. Where the guys are overworked and taking on more and more responsibility, and with the loss of Jack Coe handling the water and sewer side of things, and Wayne having to do that, I really will go to battle for that. I would say if, obviously I'd like to be able to give the staff raises as well, but if we were going to go one way or the other, then I would say, we go with the public works positions, and then we temporarily freeze the remainder of the staff with raises.
I got just two quick questions. First of all, is this with the agreement that Kalina will now go to full time?
No.
And then Neal, you said, what's that?
No, both of these options, Kalina is staying part time. She's still training with Donna on the water and sewer billing, but so she'll basically still be training, but she'll still stay part time in both these options.
Okay, and then the next question I have is, Neal, you said that obviously we lost Jack, but you said, is Dave Valentine no longer part time? Is
on a limited basis, I guess you would say.
Okay.
Yeah, Dave still is part time, but here recently he has not worked much at all, due to some personal issues. So, and I don't know what his plans are or anything like that. But right now, probably for the last 2-3 months, he hasn't. I don't believe he's worked or very little, if at all. Just doing meeting with Wayne.
I wasn't sure if he was getting to that point in his life where he's just ready to retire altogether and not do anything. But I wasn't sure where we were at with that. Is Kalina's wish still to go full time?
Yeah, I've spoke with Kalina about this. When I started looking at the beginning of the budget season and looking at the staff restructuring and everything, and she's very much interested in going full time. She understands where we are with the budget and the impacts of the coronavirus, but she's expressed to me that that's her desire, whether it's now or at a later date.
I guess let me have one more question then. So
Sure.
if we were to decide, just based on the situation that we're under with Corona, to hold off on everything, just keep everything status quo, is there an opportunity for us to be able to submit a supplement budget to put that in after this passes, or when we get a better understanding of when this might pass?
For what? Can you explain a little bit more, Ed?
If we simply said that we weren't going to do anything, we were going to put the budget in with no pay raises, no additional employee, keeping the donation to the fire department the same, and we're not going to change any of that. And we were going to submit the budget as is without those additions. Is there a chance for us later on, when this all clears, to say, okay, now we have a better financial picture of what's going on. We have a better picture of what's going to happen within the state and within the country itself. And we really do need to redress this and possibly add those things back in.
You can always amend the budget any time in the year for just pretty much any reason.
Michelle, do you want to add anything to that effect?
Only that the mayor is correct. If your revenues return to where they were, and you are assured that there will be enough money to make changes in your outgo, you could hire people. You can modify your budget. It's not really a new budget. It's just a modification based on new numbers. If you wanted to hire somebody new in December, you could certainly go ahead on and do that. You don't have to wait till next July in order to make that change or give your raises or whatever. It's not common, because that's not the way things happen. But let's face it, this is not common, what we're dealing with.
So just so we're all clear, what would be procedure? What procedurally would have to take place to to make amendments to the budget, or how would that work? Because this is, I would imagine, uncharted territory for all of us, or not most of us.
Well, it's frankly uncharted territory for me as well. It seems to me that what you could do is, because you're going to have an ordinance ultimately, and then probably at the next meeting, we'll introduce an ordinance with the final budget. And then that's the ordinance that will be adopted, which will adopt that budget. So it seems to me that you should be able to do a secondary ordinance that just spells out, we thought we were going to have $3 and we have $30. So here's how we're going to spend it. And then you might, you might just need to do a handful of line items and not your entire, 6 pages. But you just need to be sure you have adequate resources, and you can show through your legislative process to your folks, this is what we're doing and this is why, because we've gotten more money than we were afraid we were going to have. I tend to believe that it's always better to add to your budget later than to say, this is what we're going to do, and find out that you can't afford to do it. That's just obviously I don't work for the feds, or I wouldn't feel that way, but that's what, I think that's how you would just go about doing it. I'll be honest with you, I have never done that in all the years I've been doing this. So I'm not exactly sure what the process would be, but I do know that the mayor is absolutely correct. And you can move money around in your budget. And if you have more money, you can add to it over the course of your fiscal year.
Now, I will say,
and to be honest with you,
go ahead.
To be honest with you, that's basically what I've been thinking, and that's what I like to propose, is that we take those things out of there for right now, see where we're at when this, they're saying that the curve is flattening. There clearly is a plan in place, whether people agree with it or not, both on a federal level and on a state level. I think the governor has a plan in place to get us open again, whether it contradicts what's happening federally or not. But that's what I would propose, is that you pull out the pay raises, pull out the additional, because I truly believe that our staff absolutely deserves pay raises. I believe that we probably do need another public works guy, and I believe that Kalina should go full time. But I just don't know that it's the right time to introduce that. And my proposal would be to pull that all out of there, and then see where we're at when this thing starts to look like there may be light at the end of the tunnel, or starts to be an ending, so we know where we're at better financially at that point. That would be my proposal.
Well, I'm just going to say, if you take a look at our revenues, what is really affected by the coronavirus is potential connection fees. And if you look at the general fund operating budget revenues, the biggest thing is the state highway user revenue, which would not go to a new position or salaries. So you take a look at what we're really losing, really pretty much would not go to salaries to begin with. So if things get better, it's, only going to go to basically the enterprise fund with hookups. Now, unless I'm missing something, there might be some with the income tax, which we've decreased that by 20,000, but that's not a major portion of the budget.
Can I ask a quick question, Gary? This is Terry again. When I look at this and it says 6 EDUs, are we talking about the hookup fees for the Snyder Summit project that we're only projecting 6?
That's correct, and that was basically a baseline that I was thinking about using, and then we had conversations with the developer of Snyder Summit, and even though his public works agreement states 12 a year, and he would is planning on that and obviously wants to do that. He gave indication that 6 EDUs would be a more conservative, better number to use.
Okay, so quick question on that. I think last town hall meeting you stated that they went ahead and pulled 10 permits, building permits, and if they build those 10 homes, will they effectively be on our water and sewer, even though they're not occupied, but show homes or whatever else they're doing with them? Will they still be on our sewer, water and sewer?
Base rates, yes.
Yes, yeah, because when they pull the permits for the houses, which all those permits that were pulled there so far are fall into this fiscal year, the current fiscal year that we're in. But when they pull the permits, then we bill them for the charges, the area connection charges, and then any of the admin fees and meter fees and those kind of things, and then they pay that before we sign off on the building permit. When they are technically live, basically is when we get a call from the builder saying that we're ready for a water meter, and Wayne and Alan go and install a water meter. In my opinion, when you put that water meter in, you're live. You're on our system.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Did you want to look at the other version or not, Gary?
That's up to you guys. It's kind of hard to look at it side by side with what we have here.
Right.
I'm working my face is light, but where I'm trying to read is in the dark. So I got a headlamp and I'm trying to see what the heck I'm reading here and not blind myself at the same time. But yeah, I mean, again, the change, I guess you'd have to compare the changes to the capital project budgets in both general fund and enterprise fund. If you look at, just for instance, I'll try to compare them real quick here. Like I said, the revenues in both are the same. There's no difference in revenues in either option. We've used the same 6 EDU calculations in both options. But if you look at 3A1 to 3A on the capital budget project, it's 135,336 versus 140,061. So it's $7,000. No, I'm sorry, $5,000 difference there. And then on the water sewer side, you're 89. Let me see here. Yeah, 89,474 versus 86,606. So it's really, and that's for water and sewer on the enterprise side. So it's not significant on either version, really, when you look at it that way. And if we were to take out everything, the public works position and the raises, that's gonna all, I mean, we can put I would assume with Ed Smith's recommendation, and I think I've heard it from a couple others, that we would put the 10,000 back in the fire department. The difference, the rest of the difference will go back to increasing the capital transfer money for capital projects. So.
Does anyone feel comfortable right now introducing the budget, either version, or I don't think anyone is of mind to increase the budget where we would need a tax increase. I think that's across the board. the biggest thing is that we need to tell, I think, Ted at the county by May 15th, Donna, is that right?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
That we're not going to raise our taxes. Now, we can still study this a little bit more if you'd like. I think there's some doubt and maybe a little more fine tuning on everybody's part that we can introduce it in 2 weeks at the May Town Council meeting, and we still have time for a hearing at the June meeting. And maybe, you know, I don't think in 2 weeks we're going to know anything better than what we are right now. But you know, the thing that again, if things change a little bit better, then you know, I think it's going to be with the housing. Instead of 6, we may see 12 or more. Interest rates are down right now. It's a prime time to purchase a house. So, but nobody has that crystal ball. If you do, you're in the wrong business. But unless somebody wants to make a motion to introduce one of the budgets, I'd say we look at it a little bit longer and a little harder and talk about it a little bit more at the town council meeting in May.
With that being said, I've run, just so you all know, I've run probably double-digit versions of this budget this year.
No doubt.
I'm not inclined to run any more budgets, any more options. And the reason I say that is because when you do, the difference in any version, even if we take a version and do, you know, just 2% or 2.5% cost of living, the overall difference at the end of the budget is a couple $1,000s. It's not anything significant to spend more time running more and more versions of it. I mean, I'm not saying we don't need time to think about it, but I'm not really inclined to do any more versions unless you really want me to look at something specific, or if you want me to come up with some other specific comparison or something, I can try to do that. But I mean, I think we're splitting hairs with most of these differences.
And this is Councilman Green real quick. I think the biggest thing for me is I can't vote positively for a budget that's going to reduce the fire department funds by half when they're lost all their fundraisers for the year because of what's going on. I'm not a member of the fire department, but I understand the need. I understand how the fabric they are of the community. And there's just no possible way, unless you can produce something to me that's going to give them their $20,000 that we promised them, that I could vote in favor of a budget with such a significant cut for the fire department.
Yeah.
Hey, Neal, does anybody? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ed.
Okay. Has anybody reached out to the fire department to see how this actually affects them? Is there, for example, we know that they're affected negatively because of the fundraisers, but is there any plans in place? I don't remember specifically seeing anything in the stimulus package, but is there anything in place for them to be reimbursed by the feds or anything that or by the county or by the state, or is there any? Do we know how this is going to actually affect them long term?
Hold on a second. David, would you like to comment to that?
I'm trying to figure. Can I talk? Can you hear me?
Yeah, David Coe is the EMS officer at the New Windsor Fire and Hose Company #1. Go ahead, David.
So right now, and Ed knows this is probably better than most, but I think our profit from the carnival last year was $56,000, around that. We've canceled the carnival for this year. We've canceled all events up through July 1st with a reevaluation for July 1st and seeing what the governor's orders are going to be. There's no guaranteed stimulus anywhere from the federal government or anywhere. Who knows what we're going to get back. We've made some significant purchases on equipment and stuff for decanting of ambulances and all that with neighboring companies to the tune probably of around, I'm guessing, I'm trying to think here, 21,000 or so. And that's split up among 3 companies, so like 7,000 a piece. So it's a pretty significant event we're going through right now currently.
So no definite stimulus money that you know of.
Not that I know of.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, David.
Gary,
Yeah, that
Councilman
was
Hoffman here.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think what would possibly help a little bit, I've been trying to go through all the different versions that you put. And I think you said it tonight that we're almost splitting hairs. I think what would help is the comparison of just those couple activities that we've been kicking around, hiring a new public works, the salary increases that we've discussed, and the donation to the fire department. The bottom line to the budget, if we do those, you talked about really that was the money going into the capital projects. And I think if we were able to see that simplistically, if we did these three things, we would be taking a $20,000 hit in the capital budget. So instead of $150,000, it's $130,000, whatever the numbers are. I think if we saw something like that just covered those areas, that may help us really see the impact of doing those couple issues that we're grappling with right now.
Okay. Yeah.
That basically would be the second version with a $10,000 increase to the fire department, wouldn't it, Gary? With the because you have the new positions in the second one in the raises.
I think what Dave's looking for is maybe like a brief spreadsheet showing these couple line items that we're talking about specifically, and then what the bottom line impact is to the capital side of things on general and enterprise, because that's where, like I said, when we go through and run everything, that difference then is balanced. The budget is balanced by adding or subtracting money from the general fund capital and the enterprise fund capital.
Right.
I think we could do that fairly easily with like a modified, like it should be a pretty brief spreadsheet with a couple options listed and saying, with this scenario, this is the difference in capital money, loss of capital money in both scenarios, or the couple scenarios. Do you agree with that?
Everybody good? All right.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
For the May town council meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Juan, I think I can say this on behalf of the entire council. Donna, Gary, Wayne, thank you for the countless hours of doing this. As Gary said, double digits. A lot of that was prior to the virus changing the world and changing our outlook on things. And then basically within a week, they had to redo the whole budget. So thank you guys for what you did. Appreciate it. A lot of work there. Councilman Paulsgrove, we got a picture from David Coe. He sent us a picture of the sign, and I texted to everybody. So if Ed can share that, we can see that there's 10 signs, 10 organizations represented, I'll put it that way, on the sign, and it's pretty well all space taken up. Can you share that with us, Ed?
Yeah, you'll have to open up sharing for me, though.
All right. I'll figure that one out somewhere. Share screen.
You also have to let me back in. I had logged out. I'm bringing it up on my iPad here. You'll have to let me back in with that.
All right, I'm going to have to figure that one out, Ed. Wait a minute. iPad, let's see if that's it. If not, we'll take it off real quick. All right, Ed, there, admit. And I'm not finding the option there, Ed. Let me see here once. Share screen. Is there anything that says you can? See, I don't see where it says share.
It's buried in your controls somewhere. I have the host version of this thing that I've used for other meetings, and I know it's buried, but I can't tell you exactly where to go for it.
All right, well, advanced. There's an iPhone. Let's see here. I don't know if it's doing it or not. Hopefully I don't destroy everything here. You're on your iPad. Share. Now, everybody see it on there? Sorry for everybody else not be able to share it. More. Let's see.
Hold on, if everybody can pull it up on their phone. There you go. There's a way to do it.
All right, Ed, I'm going to make you host. Now see if you can share it. You're now the host. There we go. Thank you, Ed. At the top is the Lions Club. And like I say, I think they were the ones that erected this, built it, and the hours of the meetings and the day of the meetings. And then you have several churches there and the West Carroll Rec Council down at the bottom. So we have 8, 9, 10.
So Neal, who maintained this? Was it the town that was like, obviously the welcome in New Windsor was painted white and the boards have been stained. Who was doing that? Is it our town that does that?
Yeah, I mean, Dave Alt, I believe, Lions Club member back in the day, probably took care of it for a while. And I mean, we've just always mowed around it. It seems at one time there were signs on the post to the left or to the right of it. I don't know what other organizations might have been. You know, let's see here. I don't know what that one church is up there. Can't quite make that out. But,
the one with just the cross?
But we don't have the Heritage Committee on there.
I don't know what. Is that just saying that there's a church?
It says Church of God.
Church of God, okay, which is no longer there.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, the Heritage Committee could probably put something on there.
That would be nice. We'd like to do that.
Yeah.
But it seems to me, even if we went with the other sign, it's really not going to give us that much real estate, is it?
No, what was the difference? One was square footage wise.
It's a little bit taller.
99 to 77.
Yeah, it's only like what, 13 square feet or 20 square feet or something.
Yep.
No, one was 77 and the other was what, 99 square feet, 11 by 9.
Yeah, I'm looking for that. I put that page.
Here it is. I got it. 10 by 9, 90 square feet, or 11 by 7, 77 square feet. So that's probably 77 square feet right there, 11 by 7.
Right.
So when this thing fell over, did the post just break or did it just come up out of the ground?
That's a good question. I don't know for sure. I'd have to check
I was
with
curious.
Wayne on that. I'd say it just blew over, and I don't know if it snapped or just pulled out of the ground.
I imagine snap, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it may have.
How long was that in, Wayne? How roughly how old was that? Any idea?
like I say, I've been in the club for 22, 23 years, and I'm sure it was up before that.
So it was due to be replaced. My guess probably just dry rotted or and blew over once when we hit heavy winds. It's going to happen sooner or later.
David Coe sent me a message that it was broke.
Oh yeah, it broke off.
I installed that West Carroll sign probably almost 15 years ago on that post.
Yeah.
So it's been there a long
The post
time.
is actually broken.
Yeah. So what are our choices now that everybody has seen the sign?
Honestly, I think since we already seen that there's one civic organization no longer around, I think the standard size or the actual size that sign would suffice. So I think option 2 would be the best option.
And if you
With
look,
or without the
you got
PVC?
some empty spaces between the signs, so things could be shifted around a little bit there too.
Mm-hmm.
Would we go with the PVC wrap also?
Is that a motion?
I'll make the motion to go ahead and adopt option 2 for the new sign. Let me see if I can pull up the numbers so I can correct.
$2,785 for option B with a PVC covering.
So I'll make the motion for option B with the PVC covering at $2,000. Did you say $227?
$2,785.
$2,785.
Well, actually, the town cost after you use the remainder of the claim is 16. You knock 1,100 off that, so it's 1,685.
Yeah, but we have to purchase it at $2,785.
Correct.
That's the purchase price.
Purchase price, correct. Okay.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilman Green, seconded by Councilwoman Schultz, to go with option B from the Woodland signs of $2,785 with PVC covering. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Good. Everybody opposed? So carried 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
And a business update with the coronavirus. I've actually, Mayor Pat Rockenberg from Mount Airy, when we talked last week, he said that what he's been doing is getting a conference call with all the businesses that want to join in just to see what's going on and whether or not the town of Mount Airy can help them out. So I've contacted all of our businesses, basically the eateries, the 7-Eleven, and the liquor store. And overall, they're doing well. No one has complained of a hardship beyond the norm, I guess you will. And at this time, they're not asking us for anything. One organization, one business did receive 2 financial assistance programs, and they were done very quickly. One through NWSB Bank was done in a matter of days, so they were extremely pleased with that. So I'm going to continue reaching out to them every week. Feel free to do it yourselves. I still encourage you and all of our residents to continue supporting our local businesses during these challenging times. Also, I've been asked to remind everybody to wear masks inside of the businesses, and that includes the post office. That's the same as a business. It is a business, actually. So continue wearing masks in every business. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else for the good of the town?
Neal, on the masks, do we have? I mean, Public Works has some, but not a lot. Mainly, I would think the Alan and Wayne need them being out and about, and then Kalina, anytime she would go to the post office, I guess, and bank, she's doing drive-through. So, is there any way we can get some, or?
I know Wayne reached out to, you reached out to me, and then I reached out to David. And I don't want to put David on a spot, but they've been very helpful getting us some masks last week. So I don't know where Wayne is with that, but he got several from the fire department. I reached out to the Chinese American group gave 2,000, and I gave 200 to the fire department and 1,700 to the health department. And through Wendy Peters asking me about Mount Airy, I gave Mount Airy Fire Department and /town 100. And then through the Brethren Service Center, I contacted them, and through Brother, they were able to give me 500 masks, which I took to the fire hall, and they were with the shields, and 31,000 gloves, rubber gloves. So they're not in a high demand, but at least the fire department has plenty of gloves. David, I don't know how many masks you have. I know our first responders on the front line is the highest priority. But if you're willing to help us out from time to time, we would greatly appreciate that. David, did you hear me?
Yeah, we can help you guys.
No problem.
We'll work through that.
What's that?
We'll work with you guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
Neal, I need to share an update from Wayne Myers, our Director of Public Works.
Sure.
He shared with me, I think I shared at the last meeting, about the issue with wipes and such ending up in our sewer pumping stations. And he says he has seen a very significant decrease in the amount of grease that has been accumulating in the Atlee Ridge pump station. And overall, we're seeing a very significant decrease in wipes and those kinds of things that flush into the system, with the exception of the Atlee Ridge pump station, in which he says that has seen an increase in I'll say flushable wipes, but they are not
disposable,
supposed to be flushable wipes.
Right.
So overall, the grease situation seems to have almost gone away, and the wipe situation is better for most of the town, with the exception of Atlee Ridge.
Well, appreciate your comments at the last town council meeting, or when that was. Was it
the April 1st meeting? Yes.
Yeah, April 1st meeting. And then also on Facebook, that picture of our sewer pump clogged up received almost 300 shares. So I was just amazed at the amount of shares. If I get something that is shared 2 or 3 times, I'm happy. But to get 300 shares, and who knows how many other times it's shared from other people. So that, we just have to continue getting that message out there. So thank you, Ed, and thank you, Wayne. I'm going to open it up individually because I'm not sure about the hand. Real quick, Will, are you have any questions? Okay. No questions. All right. Thank you. Susan, any questions? You can type me a chat if you want. David, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
All right. Anyone else? All right. This went over fairly well. If I hear a motion for adjournment,
So moved.
Hey, Neal, before we get out of here,
yes.
really quick, I just want to, since Susan's here, I don't know if everybody knows, but one thing that's been highly recommended for people non in the medical field is to try to save the N95 style mask for use in the medical field, because our first responders, frontliners really need it. So cloth masks, bandanas, things like that have been highly sought after. Susan Jenkins, who lives in High Street, is making a very high quality cloth mask. In fact, me and my family had bought 5 from her. So if anybody out there needs masks, Susan's doing an excellent job. She's really stepped up, very affordable. It's a great option for those residents that need masks, and so Susan's doing an excellent job on that front.
And I think there's a couple others. Thank you, Susan. And there's a couple other folks around town. Kim, you're familiar with one. I think Cena got 2 from.
Yeah, Mary Mahoney is making them
thank
all.
you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you can put those contacts into town hall, we greatly appreciate it. Also, some organizations, some companies that you may deal with, I reached out to the Brethren Service Center, I was hoping that they would have some, and they came through Brother's Brother. If you are familiar with a company or a family member that deals with a company that's international, sometimes the international connection might be better than what we have availability here. So think outside the box, because this issue is not going to go away. We're going to need a supply for probably a long time, unfortunately. So do what you can and keep reaching out to everybody. And again, you hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Paulsgrove. Donna, you can take your pick on second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carry. Everybody be safe. Take care.
So, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.